And this next news story is coming out of the mean streets of Greater Manchester. 4 men have been jailed after a lone man was ambushed, hacked at with machetes and shot in broad daylight in an unprovoked attack. CCTV footage captured the moment the victim was pursued and blasted with a gun by Kavon Haselden-Doyle, who's 27 years old, in Gorton in October last year. His pals Kellen, Mongeme, who's 18, and Zak Morris, who's 17, both produced machetes and used them to attack the victim. A fourth defendant, Xarvae, Forrester, had gone to attack him, but after the sound of the gunshot, he quickly made off. So the court heard that the victim was able to drag himself to his home before summoning help. As a result of his injuries, he had to have his leg amputated and lost the full use of his right hand. The 4 men were each convicted of attempted murder following a trial, and they've now been jailed. So prosecutor Nick Donahue said that on October the 7th, 2024, at around 6 o'clock in the evening, the victim was walking along Hampden Crescent in Gorton when he spotted the 4 males on 3 bikes. He was like, what the hell's going on here? So he reacted and moved out of sight, hiding behind a tree in a van. Believing the bikes had gone, he actually moved towards his property when Morris spotted him and pointed towards him. The 3 defendants, Morris, Mongeme and Haselden-Doyle, approached the victim. He attempts to climb over a fence to get into his house but was unable to do so, said the prosecutor. Morris was the first to reach him, producing a machete and hacking at him as he scrambled over the fence. He was then trapped by Mongeme and Haselden-Doyle, with Mongeme hacking at him to the arm and shoulder. Haselden-Doyle then produced a shotgun and shot Mr. at close range as he tried to stand, it was said. Forrester was moving towards him, but the gunshot saw him and the 3 others fleeing the scene on their bikes. The victim was able to drag himself into his house, where a family member helped flag down an ambulance. The bullet had gone straight through his leg, causing such damage that his leg had to be amputated. He also severed his right hand. He suffered severe damage, basically. Police launched an investigation and pored over hundreds of hours of CCTV footage and found that the 4 defendants were present at a house prior to the incident. In a victim impact statement read to the court, the victim said on October the 7th, 2024, "My life changed forever. As I walked home alone, I was assaulted with a machete and shot in the leg by the defendants in a completely unprovoked attack. The injuries were severe and the damage was so catastrophic that my leg had to be amputated. I have had to learn how to walk again with the aid of a prosthetic leg, which is a struggle for me. These are life-changing injuries, and I have had to change practically every aspect of my life. I had recently qualified as a plumber, and now I have no job. All that hard work was for nothing. I just started my life. It shouldn't be filled with uncertainty. It should be filled with endless opportunities. I feel afraid to walk out the door. I'm worried about the people causing me further harm. I feel heartbroken and worthless. I have suicidal thoughts, sleepless nights and flashbacks. I have constant mental emotional distress. I'm seeing a counsellor to help me cope. So all I can hope now is that I can regain the confidence and zest for life I once had, but it seems very much an unattainable goal." So the defence solicitor for Morris, Ian Simpkin KC, said he had been subject to exploitation as a child from 12 years old. He said he has always accepted his actions but denied the intention. He's going to get a life sentence whether it is passed or not, he said. Daniel Harmon, the defence for Haselden-Doyle, said the offence was out of character and that he was remorseful and a good man. The defence for Mongeme said he lacked consequential thinking due to a diagnosis on the autism spectrum and had been exploited and selling Class A drugs as a child. And the defence for Forrester, Simon Koskoska, said he was the secondary party, was not directly involved in the assault. Judge Hilary Manley described the attack as brutal, pitiless and extremely violent and said they had shown considerable and careful planning and preparation. So the sentencings are as follows. Haselden-Doyle of Ardwick was convicted of attempted murder, possession of an offensive weapon with intent to endanger life and having a bladed article. He was jailed for 35 years with an extended license of 5 years. Then you got Forrester from Warwick. He was convicted of attempted murder, possession of an offensive weapon with intent to endanger life, and having a bladed article. He was jailed for 26 years. Then you got Mongeme. So basically what it is, the first guy, Haselden-Doyle, even though he got 35, he'll have to serve 2/3 of the term in jail. So that's 23.5 years in prison before he can go to the parole board. And with Forrester, he has to serve 17 years and 4 months before it goes to parole. Then we've got Mongeme. He was also convicted of attempted murder and possession of an offensive weapon, and he was sentenced to 21 years detention, of which he will have to do 14 years and 3 months before he could be released on license. And then you've got Morris. He was also convicted of attempted murder and possessing an offensive weapon, and he was sentenced to 20 years detention, and he's going to have to serve 14 years before being released on license. What a waste of life, guys. And in another news story, this time coming from London ways, and 2 teenagers who viciously attacked a 14-year-old boy with machetes on a bus in southeast London have been jailed for his murder. Kellen from Greenwich was stabbed multiple times as he travelled on a bus headed to Woolwich on the 7th of January. The 2 youths, who were aged 15 and 16 at the time of the attack, pleaded guilty to his murder and carrying a bladed weapon. At the hearing at the Old Bailey, they were sentenced to life imprisonment with a minimum term of 15 years. The incident took place on the top deck of the bus in front of horrified onlookers at around 2:30 in the afternoon. Kellen was already on the bus when the 2 youths boarded. Although no words were exchanged, both immediately pulled out concealed machetes and began their attack, which the 14-year-old sought to deflect using his rucksack. Despite the efforts of passengers and paramedics, Kellen was pronounced dead at the scene on Woolwich Church Street. The 2 youths fled from the bus along the Thames path, where police later recovered one of the machetes used in the attack from the river. They were arrested in Elth from southeast London on 15th of January. Samantha Yellen, the senior Crown prosecutor of the CPS, said this was a savage and sustained attack on a 14-year-old boy which was carried out in broad daylight on a busy bus. Kellen was headed to an appointment that day, and a passenger on the bus witnessed the violent murder in truly harrowing circumstances. Despite the attack only lasting 15 seconds, he had little chance of survival. So we worked closely with police, and we were thankfully helped by clear CCTV evidence which placed both the defendants on the bus and showed one of them discarding the machete. They had little choice but to plead guilty. Guys, there's a couple of stories coming out from the streets of the UK. They are absolutely fucked, let me tell you. It's your boy GC. Keep it locked, keep it real, and stay safe.